here today with Style Master for KEVIN.MURPHY, Sarah Lund. Sarah, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and we've been talking a lot around here, communication from the distributors, the manufacturers, even down to the stylists and the clients. It's changed a lot over the last year, just a ton. And so you're here today to talk to us about something that you've worked on specifically called the digital consultation.
Yes.
And also you're going to tell us a little bit about how stylists can connect with clients on social media. So jumping right into digital consultation, what makes digital consultation important and a really vital change for stylists, and how is it different than in-person communication?
Yes, so the digital consultation is really all about pre-planning with our salon clients. It's also about using the digital tools that we have at our disposal each and every single day to do this. So, we've kind of all talked about so much. You mentioned it earlier, the way that we communicate has changed so much in the past year, but even in the past 5 years, our communication has changed. So we have all of these digital tools at our disposal. We have Instagram, Facebook, FaceTime, Google Meets, and even texting is really a digital communication tool. So essentially what a digital consultation does is it uses these tools ahead of the appointment to establish our method, to establish time, price, kind of establish everything that we are going to do in a usual consultation. We do it all but with our clients before they even walked in the door. So before they even, before ahead of their appointment, sometimes even before you might confirm the appointment. So this kind of opens up that precious salon time. So we're not kind of doing these things in the salon, we're carving out time to do it ahead of their appointments. So this just gets everyone on the same page before we even start the appointment or set foot in the salon.
That's really cool. I think that's important too, because it feels like salon time now is I feel like it was always crunched, but now it's really crunched.
Absolutely.
People have to sanitize and clean and stuff and that kind of thing even more. So how do you conduct your digital consultations? Any specific tips, tricks, anything like that?
Yeah, so one of the big things is I actually like to lean on the client to communicate with them in the way that is their preferred way to communicate. So if, they're kind of doing a lot of texting, I'll kind of lean towards texting, you know what I mean? Just sort of leaning on the client and letting them dictate the method of communication. If I have a choice, and sometimes I do kind of push towards maybe doing a FaceTime or even setting up a Google Meets with them so we can actually have a face-to-face conversation. So, the really biggest benefit that I've found with especially having these face-to-face meetings or digitally face-to-face meetings, I have found the confidence that is established before our time together. So it's really worth noting that my business outside of KEVIN.MURPHY is either bridal, editorial, or photo shoot. So it does look a little bit different than a typical, than our salon clients, but essentially the method is the same. And this pre-planning or digital conversation of what it's done for me is resulted in my clients feeling super confident coming into the event. It allows me time to prepare anything that I need. So there's no wrenches kind of thrown into your plan or any hiccups kind of going along the way. You're already set up with everything that you need. So we don't have to make those fly decisions all the time or quite as often. And so I find that it really helps the event or the appointment run so much smoother.
That's awesome. And I think that confidence is especially important, anytime you're getting your photos taken or rather, I would always feel better if somebody was having my back there. So switching topics just a little bit, because we're still talking about digital communication, but how has your social media outreach to your clients changed over the past year? What have you found that you're doing differently, and what have you found that you're doing the same?
Yeah, so I think more than ever, I've had, especially with my bridal business, I've had more and more brides reaching out to me on Instagram. So brides just sliding right into your DMs, and kind of setting up consultations, setting up appointments, and actually sometimes not even wanting a trial, because they've already see your work on your Instagram pages. So I find there's a lot more power in our social media, and the things that we're communicating there, our clients are kind of accepting just by watching or looking at our social media pages. But really, I think the biggest sort of change is these client conversations that we have on our social media platforms have become increasingly more personal. And what I mean by that is, now more than ever, consumers have hundreds, if not thousands, of marketing messages thrown at them every single day. We all have our phones in our hands every single day, all day long. And we're just sort of getting inundated with these marketing messages. So as human beings, we've just become better at blocking some of those out. So what that means for us is that it's really vital that our messages and our communications always have that sort of personal or human touch to them. And we're really lucky as hairdressers because that's what we're used to. We're used to having those personal human conversations in the salon. So it's really about taking those and moving them also to our social media pages.
That's amazing. Yes. As somebody who works in marketing, I understand, like, yes, we get you with all those stuff all the time, but I think you've hit the nail on the head. That's what makes, and I think that's also like what we do try to do here at SSG is we do try to put it with a more personal touch as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking directly to your client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are some of the best ways that stylists and salons can be using their social media right now?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Number one, like we both kind of just said it, but keeping it personal and speaking directly to your audience. So speaking directly to your audience, whether it's funny or witty or serious or whatever it is that your audience responds to, and kind of having that sort of art of relatable storytelling. So I don't mean like writing a full-on novel, but just those kind of like little quips that kind of give us that relatable story or something that feels relatable to our day-to-day. And, think about how your post. And one thing that I've kind of learned is anytime that I'm posting, thinking about what my audience is or who my audience is and how is this helping or how is this adding value? So asking yourselves the question, is this solving hair problems or concerns? Is this educational or inspirational? Is there a way at this moment, can I provide a styling tip or trick here, maybe in the caption? So kind of always just asking yourself, does this add value to your clients? And possibly, I would say the most important thing that you can do for your social media is to show up, right?
Yes.
Just show up. Show up and be consistent, always with your posting and being consistent with your message. So stay, you just want to stay in your client's social media. You want your face or your post or your story to pop up on their social media accounts on a really regular and consistent basis. I do kind of like to talk about things too, and just kind of throw this thing out there is sometimes it's easy to get discouraged and not want to do it anymore and think like, oh, my post only got 30 views. It's really frustrating. Of course, when you see people getting tens and thousands of views, but also kind of ask the question, and this was proposed to me. I didn't make this up, so I am kind of stealing it. So if your post only got 30 views, only 30 people watched your video, but what would you do if 30 people right now walked into the salon all at once? It would be incredibly overwhelming, right? There would be so many people. So even though you think that's only 30 people, that's 30 existing clients that you're reaching or 30 potential new clients that you're reaching. So basically what I'm trying to say is just stick with it and continue to show up.
Oh, I think that's the best advice because number one, there's nothing sadder than like an Instagram page that's basically been abandoned. Like it looks sad. And it makes people sad to see that. And second, as hair, well, I think you're a little more special because, you see people for their weddings and maybe like other big events in their life. So that stretches even further. But for a stylist that's in a salon, you know, I go every 6 weeks because these are hard to maintain, but I don't see her for 6 weeks at a time. I think it's just important to have that connection, and that's just one way to do it.
Yeah, I heard a little kind of tip one day too, that if you know, 6 weeks in between appointments is a really long time. And imagine you were dating someone and you went on a date every 6 weeks, how long it would take to get to know someone and what could change in between that time. So how can we keep that communication in between those dates or between those appointments?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great metaphor too. And I've been, you know, and I've been with my stylist for 10 years. And so like, I know her pretty well, but like in the beginning, it was a little like, this is weird. We're having to like figure this out. But yeah, so I think that's a great piece of advice. Okay. So say a stylist or salon's like just getting started with social media. What's the best place for them to start?
Okay. Best place to start. Here are my top 3 things that you can do right now, you can do today. Is number 1, follow social media coaches on Instagram. So someone that educates best practices. There are tons and tons of social media coaches out there, where their pages are just filled with tips and tricks and information and ideas and best practices and all of those things. And you can follow those people today. I have a couple. One is Lisette Calv, Social with Carrie, and that's Carrie with a Kary. Sweeter Social, Chic Influencer. These are all just incredible resources to get those kind of tips and tricks showing up in your feed. Number 2, something you can do right now is download a planning app. So the 2 that I use, one called Plan with 2 N's and Planoly. But what these do, plan apps, is allow you to sort of organize your post, create your captions, add hashtag sets. It allows you to do all of those things that can be really time consuming to create or to curate. So it allows you to just sort of organize everything together. And I think that's a big key in making our social media and our content creation much easier or a lot more seamless. And the third thing that you can do today is to start engaging with your current followers. So tag your clients in post, like and comment on their posts, start a conversation, ask a question. So start to engage with the followers that you already have on your page and the people that you follow as well. So those are the 3 things that you can do right now today. But I also think it's a really good idea to take a class. So have somebody who's already done all the things, done the research, organized everything for you, and teach it to you so you can just take notes and gather any of the information that you want. So luckily, Kevin Murphy does have a social media class called Instaworthy. It's essentially going to take you through the basics, that 101 of Instagram. It really helps you to establish your brand presence, helps to streamline the process, and really give you the tools that makes Instagram a lot easier to use.
Right. And you're the educator for that, right?
I am, yes.
That's exciting. And I think that if we get one of those classes, like stylists love hearing from other stylists because, you know, you're right in there with them. You've done the work and you've had the same kind, a similar audience. And I think that's really amazing that they offer that, because it's a very emerging and important platform for all of our stylists.
Absolutely.
Sarah, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. We'll catch this article in our next groupie, which is July, August. So there'll be an article, and then this video will also be on YouTube.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.